What's up, fam? How y'all doing? I have been pretty quiet these last few weeks, and this music's still looping. See, I've been quiet so long that all the bells and whistles of the live stream, are new to me once again. I've been traveling the last several weeks, been working, I've been lifing. And I was thinking that I needed to get back to podcasting and live streaming, and everything was getting in the way. But today is extra special. One of the dopest, kindest, happiest people that you'll ever meet. Definitely one of my favorite past guests, now turn sister friend, is Mignon Francois. She is the founder and director of Joy at the Cupcake Collection in Nashville, Tennessee. She's a faith walker. She's an amazing speaker. And now she is the author of a new book called Made from Scratch, Finding Success Without a Recipe. And so join me, Blazer Nation, in welcoming my dear friend, entrepreneur, and newly titled author, Mignon Francois.
Hello.
The I Am Black Success stage. I am so excited.
I love that introduction. It's so funny. We clicked all those years ago when we first recorded, and now here's like texting you in the middle of the day. Oh my gosh, Steven.
Yes. Listen, I don't even know if you know this. That conversation was probably easily 6 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting in this room just on the other side. I was even thinking I need to go find the archive of that. Because I remember talking to you, and then the first question I asked you is something I ask all my guests, even to this day, about gratitude. And normally people take a minute, 2 minutes tops. Mignon's talking for about 15 minutes. And I'm not stopping her. And I am sitting on the other side. I don't even know if, we were recording over video. But I remember like looking up, and I felt tears, filling my eyes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to move my audience. And I've never had a podcast episode published on a Monday morning at 5 a.m. And I had 205 consecutive weeks of publishing a podcast at 5 a.m. And by 7 a.m., I'm getting texts, I'm getting DMs, I'm getting people on the bus, on the train, telling me they're jumping up and down, listening to this woman's story. And I am so very excited that you've now authored your first book.
Yeah. Amen. I'll receive it.
Yes.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about it. Who or what inspired you to write this book now in this season of your life?
Yeah. I think that this book belongs as much to the people who come into the Cupcake Collection as much as it belongs to me and to my children. People are always asking about the story. We get a lot of tours that come through our stores, and we do a lot of interviews, and we were just finding that there were little bits and pieces of the story that people were confused about, or also people needed the story and I couldn't be in the place to tell it myself, right? Or maybe we didn't have time to tell it. And so I just decided to write it down now because I learned in the process that if you don't tell them the story, they'll make one up for themselves. And so I promised God that if he would make me successful, I would tell anybody who would listen about what they could do if they believe. And this just was an opportunity for me to get that out faster to more people, wherever they are, whatever they were, desiring to do. And so when the opportunity, that question has been coming to me a lot. Why do it right now? But I didn't just do it now. I've been doing it for 2 years. This book has taken me 2 years to write. And that's the shocking part for me, because it's like, oh, this is my story. I'm gonna whip this out in 30 days, I'll be done, or in 60 days, 6 months, I'm sure it'll be on the shelves.
Yeah.
It was nothing comes easy for me.
Mm.
Nothing comes easy for me. And I realized it took me 2 years to open the store, 2 years to open up New Orleans, 2 years to write a book.
Wow. There's a lot that you shared in the book.
Mhm,
Some that you actually said, oh, right, it was the first time you were sharing,
mhm.
info publicly.
Yeah.
What do you think readers are going to be most surprised to know and learn about you when they're reading the book?
They're going to be most surprised to know about the heartache that I experienced. They're going to be most surprised to know about the hardships that I had. I
Mm.
think that they think they already know some of the hard stuff that I've been through, but they're going to learn that they didn't know the half of it. And they're going to be surprised at how I still smiled and how this has made me better, not bitter.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I was reading some of these stories and I'm like, OMG. Like you done been through it.
Yeah.
I,
And the thing about it is, like, they're going to be, I think people are going to see themselves in my story even more than they ever have
yes.
before.
Yeah.
So while they thought that, it connected to them, I think it's going to connect to people even more because it's like, yes, I've been drowning in debt and brokenness. Me too.
Hmm.
Yes, I've been losing everything that I have. Me too. Yes, I'm trying to figure out how to make a dollar out of 15 cents. Me too. But yes, I've also experienced domestic violence. Yeah, me too. And there were things that I did not put in the book. There's so many stories that I could have shared.
Hmm.
But for me, I never want to be a victim because the Bible tells me that it's not over until I win. And
Yes.
so I know that I'm victorious. And so I never want to, be in a situation of saying, oh, poor me, because I've learned to look for the lesson in everything. And that's what I want people to hear is what is the lesson that I'm supposed to take from this?
In the process of you filtering through some of this, so I imagine you went back to a place and you're trying to recall the steps in this journey that you've
Mhm,
gone through. I remember actually doing this at the height of when my dad suffered his stroke and was here, and I was pulling everything out of him. And I
mhm,
actually feel like I could have stirred his second stroke,
mhm,
right? Bringing him back to a place that was a really dark chapter in his journey.
mhm,
Um, did this stir up like painful emotions and grief in the process of writing?
mhm. Absolutely. It also reminded me, like, so for me, I'm a person, one of my top strengths is responsibility.
Hmm.
And I'm a person who takes responsibility for my part in things. And I think I just understood why some things had to happen.
Mm.
I think I understood what my role was in some of the things that I experienced. So while there is grief or pain, it's always minimal because in the end I can not wait till the battle is over to shout now. You
Yes.
know, there was a choir song that said, in the end you're gonna win. So I
Mm.
think I didn't wait for the battle to be over on the inside of me to find joy in the journey that I was on because God says he trades my tears, for he takes our sorrow, he makes beauty out of ashes. He will exchange our tears and offer us joy. And I believe there is a high value of joy in the kingdom of God because he takes our tears and then bottles them, plants them, and allows them to grow into something that we can be joyful about.
Mm. I love that. I've heard you tell me, you've told hundreds of others the story about
Hmm.
last $5, and
Hmm.
yet, I'm reading the book and I'm reading the chapter, and my heart's pounding, right? And I sometimes, and you just touched on this, right? Like everything kind of happens when it's supposed to, but if you could go back,
Hmm.
what advice would you give to Mignon when you looked out and you saw, Joni, and you open the door and she's asking you for 600 cupcakes and you know you're down to your last $5.
Yeah. I would tell her the same thing that God told me then. God said, I feed birds
Mm,
and they don't toil or store up in barns. And I guess I would tell Mignon to believe faster. I would tell Mignon that, that God has never left you, so he's not going to leave you now. And I believe that sometimes I still got stuck, even though I knew that God was with me, I still got stuck. I would tell Mignon to not quit. And I was always quitting. So I would tell Mignon to quit quitting and keep going. It took me a while to get to that place. It didn't have to take me 2 years. It's just, I think it was part of maybe some of my unbelief that, put me in that spot.
mm. Yes. Um, Earlier this week, I believe you and I were texting, and I said to you that success for this book is not necessarily going to be tied to a Wall Street Journal or a New York Times best-selling list.
Hmm.
Great if those things happen.
Hmm.
But I firmly believe, I
Hmm.
think that success is going to be defined for the person that
Hmm.
reads your stories, goes on to transform their lives because you told those tales.
Yeah, I
Mignon,
believe that.
how do you define success for this book?
Oh yeah, I received that when you say that. The success for this book is me getting it in the hands of people so that they know what they can do if they believe. That is success for me, to get the story spread out, because that was the promise that I made to God, that I explain, or that I shout from the mountaintops that you can do this and you will win. That success for me is, like you said, people actually doing it and then coming back and sharing it with me to affirm the journey so that I know I can keep going. One of the things that, helped me to keep moving when I would be stuck, would be in my unbelief. Like I just said, I would say to God, God, I believe, but help my unbelief.
Mhm.
It's like I don't have enough yet. Can you help the spaces where I don't believe? I do believe, but can you give me more belief? I do believe, but can you help those spaces that need to be strengthened to believe? And so success for me would be that people would believe.
Mhm. Let me ask you, when can I expect the audiobook? I need to hear this book read in your voice.
Yes,
I
yes.
need I need that.
Yes, I am such an Audible book listener. I listen in my car, don't really listen to music that much because I'm always listening to a book.
Yeah.
Right now I'm doing Don Miller's new book. I'll grab it for you guys so
I
you can
am too.
Are you got it right there with
I,
you?
I actually my phone is on the floor.
Oh, okay, okay. This
But
this
yeah,
is the one I'm doing right now. How
I
to grow your
ordered the
small business.
hardcover. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I'm starting to record the Audible at the end of the month.
I love it. I am so
So
excited to
they
hear that.
wanted the paper copy to come out first, and then we
Yeah.
could follow up and do the Audible. So yeah, I
Mm,
do it at the end of the month.
I cannot wait
I
to hear that.
cannot wait. I cannot wait.
So, I wanted there's a special area of the book, feature of what you did, if you will, um, where you do these recipe notes to self. And if I could, let me see if I can navigate. I'd intended to do this before. Let's see if I can share this. But for those of you who are watching, you'll see on the screen. I placed one of Mignon's recipe notes to self. And
Mhm.
for those of you who are listening to the audio of this, I'm gonna actually read it. And I'm gonna read it from the book because
Okay.
I have way too many things up on my screen right now. But it says, all you have is all you need to get started on the journey. You'll need a large commercial refrigerator. In fact, you'll need a few. A room full of mixers big enough for you to bake a business in would be nice as well, along with several convection ovens. But you will not need those on day one. Today, you have everything you need to be successful for where you are for today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. Mignon, for all the side hustlers, all the entrepreneurs, all the folks who are paralyzed, not taking action, not living their dream, not living their purpose, waiting for the room of mixers, right? Before they take the first step. I
Hmm.
want you to take a couple minutes, speak
Hmm.
into them, tell them why it's important for them to take the first step right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I was so good at starting, never good at finishing. And I just want to have you do a heart check and see if it really is that you don't think that you have the things that you need, or is it that you're afraid to start, or you're afraid of failure? Well, I want to remind you that really you're not afraid of failure. If you were afraid of failure, you would never have this big, grand idea in the first place. I believe it's a fear of success that keeps us from going forward. That fear that I'm going to have to wake up and do this anyway. I'm going to have to wake up and continue to do this. And so I want to encourage you that all you have is all you need to get you from where you are to where you want to be. I remember, I talk about this in the book, on the day that I got the papers to open up the Cupcake Collection, I was standing in what would become the lobby and the decorators area with the health inspector who had come by just to check on me because it had been 2 years and we hadn't opened yet. And he just wanted to see what he could do to help us go through the process and see if there was anything that we needed. And he was standing in the room and saw a refrigerator, a little dorm size refrigerator sitting over to the side. And he said, "Is this the refrigerator that you're going to be using to open up your business?" And I was like, "No, I'm going to get a commercial refrigerator." And he said, "Does this one keep temperature?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Will this one hold your product that you need for the day, even if you've got to go back several times to get more?" I said, "Yes, it will." And then he goes over and he starts jotting something down on a piece of paper. And then he hands me a sheet and says, "Open whenever you wish." And had he not come and spoke that into my life, that this dorm refrigerator will get you open, I don't know how much longer it would have taken me to be able to save enough money and do all of the things I needed in order to open up the business. But he showed me a different perspective. And I want to remind you that it is all about perspective. And when you own your now, you will have won. And notice what I've said there. When you own now, you would have won. That's because OWN and NOW and WON are all the same letters that spell different words if you change your perspective. And I know I've shared that with you guys before, but I want you to remember to speak what you seek until you see what you said. And sometimes it's just that little reminder, that little push that helps you to know that I can start right now. 94% of Americans are waiting for some big major thing to happen in order for them to start living. You don't have to wait for graduation. You don't have to wait to get out of debt. You don't have to wait to have enough money. You don't have to wait for your credit to be in the right spot. Whatever it is that you're waiting for, start right now to get you from where you are to where it is that you want to be. And in the end, you will realize that all you had was all you needed. That every stupid thing that you've ever had to do is taking you from where you are to where you want to be. I hope
Woo!
that brings you joy.
Always does. It never gets old. I love it every single time I hear it. Ooh, Mignon, I am so very excited for you. I know you're tired. I know that,
Yeah.
at the time we are recording this, you
Yeah.
are 2 days into this launch.
Yeah.
What's the experience been at this point as an author, right? Like leading up to it, you've been planning this for years,
Yeah.
right? Planning the launch for months.
Hmm.
But how are you feeling right now in the heart of the launch?
Yeah. I feel excited. I feel overjoyed. I'm still amazed. I get surprised. at all of the people who are still on this journey with me, who still need this information.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that one of my best friends came to the book release, and the room was packed. There probably wasn't enough room to really get any more people in there. I mean, we could have figured it out, right? But people were along the walls and all over the room, in the back of the space, watching from behind the doors. And she comes up to me and she said, "You know all of these people?" And I was like, "No. Some of these people I'm meeting for the very first time, and they wanted to be here just to be in the space to release this book with me because they've been on this journey." And she just sat back and she said, "Wow." And when I think about the word wow, it reminds me that you are worthy of winning.
Mm.
And it's so hard for me sometimes to blow my own whistle, right? And
I
to
need you
be
to
able to
pull up.
say,
I gotta get that one more time. Wow.
yes, wow, you are worthy of winning. And sometimes it's hard for me to blow my own whistle. And sometimes you sit back in a situation and you say, wow, really? And you say, oh, wow. you know and no matter how you say it, it's still a reminder that you are worthy of winning. And it's so difficult for me to sometimes blow my own whistle. I can be the cheerleader for everybody else. I will be the hype man that you need to know that you got this, you can do this. I will be your cheerleader. But sometimes I have to be reminded that you are also worthy of winning.
Hmm. That's a good perspective to have when the imposter syndrome creeps.
Yeah. You really helped me with that this week. Just to sit back and understand that this just means that you are doing a big thing. And if it's not big enough to scare you, it's not big enough. And that's the place that I've been in, where I've needed God to help me get through this. And that's how I know it's just the right size,
Yeah.
because it's not too big for God. It's just too big for me.
Mm, I love it. Listen, I am so very excited. I can't keep putting the book up enough. Listen, for those of you who are listening to us, I need you to go out, jump on Amazon, wherever you want to get your book, right? I need you to get a copy right now of Mignon's new book, Made from Scratch: Finding Success Without a Recipe. Let me know. Definitely tag us both up on the socials, right? And let us know that you got your copy. Take a picture, tag Mignon in it. Let
Yes.
us know what you are enjoying most, what moves you. Because there's a lot of content in here that Mignon really went deep in on and
Mhm,
and shared, and you touched on it earlier, right? Like,
mhm.
I just know and believe what you said. Like, there are going to be people. I found the same in this podcast, right, where people connect to the valley. They
Yeah.
see themselves in you, in your valley moment, and
Mhm,
realize, like, hey, you know what? You were in that dark place. That's where I'm at right now, and it
mhm,
gives me hope that I can somehow climb from that
mhm,
to another peak. So,
mhm.
love you, appreciate you, excited for you and this
I
book.
appreciate you too. Thank you so much. One of the things I want to say to people as they are tagging us and letting me know what they thought about the book. One of the things that I need the most is when you get into the book and you feel that you've had an encounter. I just would love it if you loved it, to go out and tell others. If you didn't, I want you to come back and tell me. But the compliment of a review on Amazon takes this book a really long way, and it helps me to keep my promise to God even further, because then it gets propelled online through the algorithms that people need to read and hear this, and it's shared more on Amazon and the platforms. So reviewing it is
100%.
what I need for people to do.
Yes, yes, yes. Mignon Francois, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I always love sharing this space with you.
Me too.